If you notice these signs, keep going. You are on the right path, inner awakening guide. Have you ever felt like something within you is shifting? Even if you cannot explain why. Like your thoughts no longer fit the life you once found familiar. This video is for those who sense that change is happening beneath the surface. And are brave enough to listen. Here, we explore the deep signs of transformation, emotional detachment, dreams, body reactions, and more. Inspired by the timeless insights of Carl Jung. DepthMind takes you into the heart of psychological awakening. This isn't about motivation or quick fixes. It's about facing the inner truth, breaking unconscious patterns, and building a life that aligns with who you truly are. Stay with us. By the end of this journey, you won't just understand the signs, you'll understand yourself. When life starts whispering to you. Have you ever felt like something beneath the surface of your everyday life is trying to get your attention? Not loud or obvious, but quiet and persistent. A thought that keeps returning. A moment of silence that feels heavy. An unexpected shift in how you see people, places, or even yourself. It is as if life itself is whispering, trying to pull you towards something deeper. And yet, most people ignore this call. They label it as overthinking, stress, or just a bad mood. But what if that subtle discomfort is not a problem, but a message? A message from within. In a world where emotions are often dismissed and inner struggles are hidden behind smiles, psychology remains misunderstood. Many still think it is only for the broken, the weak, or the lost. But the truth is, understanding the mind is not weakness. It is wisdom. Listening to the signals of your inner world is not indulgence. It is courage. Because what you ignore does not disappear. It grows louder in the form of repeated mistakes, emotional numbness, and silent dissatisfaction. This is the beginning of awakening. The moment you stop running and start listening. When you begin to ask why certain things no longer feel right. When you dare to look at your discomfort and wonder what it might be telling you. That is when the whisper turns into a path. And the path leads not away from life, but deeper into it. Toward truth. Toward self. The unconscious always speaks, are you listening? Most people go through life believing they are fully in control of their thoughts and decisions. But beneath the surface, another force is quietly at work. The unconscious mind. It does not shout. It whispers through patterns, symbols, emotions, and moments of discomfort. Carl Jung dedicated his life to studying this hidden part of the psyche. He believed that the unconscious constantly communicates with us, guiding our growth. Trying to bring wholeness to our fragmented selves. But here is the problem. Society teaches us to ignore the subtle. To value logic over intuition. To dismiss what cannot be measured or explained. As a result, people miss the signs. They mistake intuition for anxiety. They treat recurring dreams as meaningless. They suppress emotions instead of listening to them. And by doing so, they silence the very voice that is trying to help them evolve. Have you ever made the same mistake over and over and wondered why it keeps happening? Or felt drawn to something you cannot explain? That is your unconscious speaking. Not to confuse you, but to wake you up. To show you what lies beneath your patterns. Understanding this is not weakness. It is power. Because once you start paying attention, you begin to reclaim parts of yourself you never knew you lost. You do not need to be broken to explore your inner world. You just need to be willing to listen. And once you do, you will find that the unconscious has always been speaking. You just needed the silence to finally hear it. Isolation, the first sign of inner awakening. When your inner world begins to shift, the outer world often follows. One of the first signs of this change is a growing sense of isolation. Not because others push you away, but because something within you starts to pull back. Conversations that once felt easy now seem shallow. People you used to connect with suddenly feel distant. You may wonder if something is wrong with you. But perhaps something is finally right. Carl Jung explained that as we evolve, our unconscious leads us away from what no longer aligns with our growth. This includes relationships, environments, even parts of our identity. The process can feel lonely. It is natural to miss the old connections. But it is also a sign that your inner self is outgrowing the version of you that once fit those spaces. There is a difference between isolation that nourishes and isolation that destroys. The first is a sacred pause. A time to reflect, heal, and listen. The second is a slow descent into disconnection and despair. How do you know the difference? Nourishing solitude brings clarity. Destructive isolation brings confusion. One strengthens you, our sense of self. The other erodes it. If you feel distant from others right now, do not panic. You are not broken. You are becoming. The silence you feel is not emptiness. It is space being made for a deeper connection with yourself. A new chapter requires a new circle. And before you find them, you must first find you. When what once brought you joy feels empty, there comes a moment on the inner journey when things that once brought joy no longer feel the same. The music you loved, the places you frequented, the conversations you once enjoyed now feel distant. You may try to force yourself to feel what you used to feel. You may worry that something is wrong. But this emptiness is not a loss. It is a sign that your inner self is shifting. Carl Jung believed that as consciousness expands, the unconscious helps clear away what no longer serves growth. What once felt meaningful begins to fade. This is not about becoming numb. It is about making space for something deeper. When old pleasures lose their grip, it is not because life has lost color. It is because your soul is seeking new shades of meaning. This phase can feel confusing. We are taught to seek stability, to hold on to what feels familiar. But true growth often demands letting go. You are not broken for feeling disconnected from what once lit you up. You are evolving. Your system is recalibrating. And that strange sense of boredom might actually be a doorway to a more authentic life. Letting go of the old is not rejection. It is preparation. When you release what no longer resonates, you create space for new passions, deeper purpose, and a truer version of yourself. What feels empty now may simply be the silence before something meaningful begins to speak. Life repeats the lesson until you finally understand. Have you ever noticed the same situation happening again and again in your life? The same arguments in different relationships. The same obstacle. In new jobs. The same emotional pain in different forms. It may feel like bad luck or coincidence. But what if it is neither? What if these repetitions are not failures, but messages from your unconscious? Carl Jung believed that the unconscious mind uses repetition to teach. When we do not understand a lesson, it reappears through new people, new settings. But always with the same emotional core. Until we become conscious of the pattern, we remain stuck in it. The same story plays out with different characters, but the ending remains unchanged. The purpose is not to punish you. It is to wake you up. To show you something within yourself that needs attention. Maybe it is a belief that you are not worthy. A fear of abandonment. A need to control. These inner wounds create outer experiences. And until we face them, they will keep writing the same script. The moment you recognize the pattern, you take back power. You begin to ask deeper questions. What is this situation trying to teach me? What am I avoiding in myself? Growth begins not when things change around you, But when something shifts inside you, you are not cursed. You are being called to awareness. The repetition is not a trap. It is a mirror. And when you finally see what it reflects, you break free. When you feel you're searching for something greater, there comes a time when everything that once satisfied you no longer feels enough. You wake up with questions you never used to ask. You wonder about purpose, meaning, connection. You feel drawn to books you used to overlook, topics you once ignored, thoughts that stretch beyond your everyday life. This is not a crisis. It is the call of your evolving consciousness. Carl Jung described this as the individuation process. The journey of becoming whole. It begins with discomfort but leads to deep alignment. When the ego no longer satisfies your inner hunger, something deeper within you begins to rise. A desire not for success or approval but for truth. For integration. For real inner freedom. This calling does not come to everyone. It arrives when you are ready to evolve. When your unconscious decides you have outgrown the surface life. It whispers through dissatisfaction, restlessness, and curiosity. Not because something is wrong with you but because something greater is waking up within you. Many ignore this phase. They numb it with distractions or suppress it with routine. But if you feel it rising, honor it. Explore it. Let it lead you inward. Toward the self beneath the roles. The soul beneath the surface. You are not lost. You are being invited. Invited to begin the most important journey of all. The journey back to who you truly are. The body reacts when the mind begins to shift. Long before your mind fully understands that something is changing, your body already knows. It senses the tension before you can name it. It reacts to emotional shifts with physical signs. You may feel more tired than usual, unable to sleep, or suddenly craving rest. You may experience headaches, chest tightness, or waves of anxiety without knowing why. This is not weakness. It is communication. Carl Jung emphasized that the body and unconscious are deeply connected. What is repressed in the psyche finds expression in the body. When inner transformation begins, it often creates pressure that your nervous system must hold. And when that pressure builds, your body becomes the messenger. The mistake most people make is ignoring these signals. They treat them as random symptoms rather than meaningful feedback. But your body is wise. It speaks in sensations because your mind might not be ready for words. Aches, discomfort, and restlessness are often ways your deeper self says something inside you is shifting. Instead of numbing the symptoms, pause and listen. Ask your body what it is trying to say. Where do you feel the tension, and what memory or emotion might live there? Healing is not only mental. It is physical, emotional, and spiritual. The more you listen to your body, the more aligned you become with your transformation. Your body is not resisting your evolution. It is guiding it. Strange symbols begin to appear in your dreams. Dreams are not random. They are messages spoken in the language of the unconscious. When you are going through deep internal change, your dreams often become more vivid, emotional, or strange. You might see repeated images, unknown places, or experience intense emotions that linger after waking. These are not just dreams. They are signals. Carl Jung believed that dreams are the most direct form of communication from the unconscious. Because the rational mind is silent during sleep, the deeper self can speak freely. But it does not speak in logic. It speaks in symbols. Water may represent emotions. Falling might express fear of losing control. Being chased could reveal something inside you that you are avoiding. Most people ignore their dreams. They forget them, dismiss them, or brush them off as nonsense. But the unconscious does not waste its energy. If something appears repeatedly, it carries meaning. Your dreams might be trying to show you what your waking mind is not ready to face. To begin understanding them, start recording your dreams as soon as you wake up. Do not try to interpret them too quickly. Just observe. Over time patterns may emerge. And in those patterns you may find hidden truths about your fears, desires, and unresolved wounds. Your dreams are not distractions. They are mirrors. If you pay attention, they can guide you toward healing, insight, and integration. The night is not a void. It is a conversation. And your soul is speaking. Uneasy but certain, you're no longer who you were. There is a strange tension that comes with growth. A discomfort mixed with clarity. You feel unsettled but at the same time deeply certain that you cannot go back to who you used to be. The habits that once defined you no longer fit. The roles you played feel unnatural. The path behind you is closed and yet the path ahead is still unclear. This is not failure. It is transformation. Carl Jung taught that true change does not feel safe. It feels disruptive. Because every meaningful shift begins by breaking something apart. Old beliefs, identities, old attachments must dissolve before something new can emerge. You may feel stuck between versions of yourself. One foot in the past, one foot in the unknown. This emotional limbo is uncomfortable but necessary. You are not lost. You are in between. And in this space your new self begins to take shape. Many people turn back at this stage. The discomfort is too much, the uncertainty too overwhelming. But if you can stay with it, hold space for it, something powerful happens. You begin to grow roots in unfamiliar soil. You begin to trust what cannot be seen. This tension is a sign that your unconscious is working. It is pulling you toward alignment, not comfort. Do not rush it. Do not resist it. Let the old fall away. Let the new unfold slowly. You are breaking down. You are breaking open. Realization isn't enough, act on the signs. Recognizing the signs of inner change is powerful. But recognition alone is not transformation. You can understand the message yet remain stuck in old patterns. True change begins when awareness becomes action. When you stop just observing and start responding. Carl Jung emphasized that the unconscious does not communicate for curiosity. It speaks to guide us. The repeating dreams, the tension in the body, the fading interests all carry a message. But that message only takes form when you engage with it. When you bring it into your choices, your habits, your way of living. This is where many people freeze. They see the signs but feel overwhelmed by what they might mean. They fear making the wrong move or stepping into unfamiliar territory. But growth does not require perfection. It only asks for honesty and movement. A small change in response is more powerful than endless reflection. Start simple. Ask yourself what no longer feels true. What small action could honor what you are becoming? Write it down. Speak it aloud. Practice it in daily life. Let the signs shape your behavior. Not just your thoughts. Your unconscious is not just showing you patterns. It is inviting you to participate. To rewrite the story. To embody a new way of being. Awareness is the first step. But action is what completes the transformation. Connecting with the unconscious through stillness and observation. In a noisy world, stillness is revolutionary. Silence allows you to hear what noise keeps hidden. When you slow down your thoughts, our unconscious begins to speak. Not with words but with sensations, images, and insights that rise when the mind stops chasing. Carl Jung believed that introspection was not escape but encounter. When you sit in silence without distraction, you begin to notice what is alive inside you. Restlessness, anxiety, unexpected emotions. Or even sudden clarity. These are not interruptions. They are invitations to explore what you usually avoid. Stillness does not mean emptiness. It is space. Space to feel without judging, to listen without solving, to observe without reacting. In this space awareness grows. And with awareness comes the power to choose differently. Practice this daily. A few minutes of quiet each morning. Observing your breath, your body, your thoughts. You do not have to silence your mind. You only need to pay attention. As you do, you will notice CE patterns, symbols, emotions returning. These are messages. The unconscious does not force. It waits for your readiness. And in the quiet you offer it a doorway. A place where it can finally be heard. Psychology isn't for the weak. There is a common belief that psychology is only for people who are broken, lost, or unstable. But this idea is not just false, it is harmful. It creates shame around seeking help and fear around looking within. The truth is that understanding your mind is not a weakness. It is strength of the highest kind. Carl Jung believed that exploring the unconscious was one of the bravest things a person could do. It takes courage to face what is hidden, to question your own beliefs, and to dive into the parts of yourself you were taught to ignore. This work is not for the weak. It is for the honest, the willing, the awake. Psychology is not about labeling or fixing people. It is about understanding. It is about making sense of patterns, emotions, reactions, and choices. It is the study of what makes us human. And being human means being complex, layered, and sometimes wounded. If you have ever felt resistance to this path, ask yourself where that belief came from. Who taught you that emotion equals weakness, that reflection is self-indulgent, that needing support makes you be broken? These are not truths. They are cultural walls built around your growth. Daring to know yourself is not a flaw. It is a beginning. A declaration that you are no longer afraid of your own depth. Know yourself, understand others, master your mind. The deeper you understand yourself, the more clearly you begin to see others. Patterns that once confused you in relationships now reveal there are roots. You recognize projection, defense mechanisms, and emotional wounds not just in yourself but in the people around you. This insight does not make you judgmental. It makes you compassionate. Carl Jung taught that what we reject in ourselves we often react to in others. When you make peace with your inner world, you no longer need to control or fix the outer one. You begin to respond instead of react. You hold space instead of rushing to fix. And this ability is not only healing for you. It is healing for everyone you connect with. Emotional maturity is not about perfection. It is about presence. It is the capacity to sit with discomfort, to stay grounded during conflict, and to choose clarity over chaos. This comes from self-awareness and from the daily practice of watching your mind without fear. You cannot control how others live or how they see you. But you can choose how you show up. You can master your attention, your response, your inner world. And from that place of inner mastery, true leadership begins. Not power over others but power within yourself. The journey back to yourself is not an easy path. It requires the courage to listen to what you once avoided. To face the parts you once rejected, and to let go of what used to define you. But through that journey, you not only heal but also grow. You do not just understand yourself. You begin to understand others. And then, you no longer live on autopilot, but with awareness. From there, every step you take becomes more than mere existence. It becomes a conscious, meaningful, and deeply intentional choice.